Hello everyone and welcome to the table. So today we have a brand new knife from Fintiso. And so they sent this knife over for the purposes of making a video about it. And so just in full disclosure, no money has been exchanged for this review or for this video. And there is no other sponsorship implied. All these opinions are my own. So let's take a look at the Parrot right here. So the Fintiso Parrot, I imagine they called it that because of the shape of the blade right here. We have a nice sheep's foot design. So a downward sweep to that blade. And when they asked which color variant of this knife I would like to check out, I asked for this aluminum handled version because they have it in G10 in a few different colors, but I really do like the look of an aluminum knife. They just look really clean. So we are a button lock knife right here. The blade runs on bearings, so the action is actually very well tuned. So pressing that button down, you can see that blade does indeed swing quite freely. But we do have dual thumb studs to open the knife. So action opening the knife is fairly smooth. I will suggest straight out of the box, your thumb action, your thumb motion right here, you want to do more of a side motion like this to open it up as opposed to a straight up motion. It just feels a little more natural with this type of blade. And especially considering how close the thumb studs are to this opening section right here. So you can see it's a very close fit, especially if you're a lefty, getting your thumb in there, you want to make sure you make a solid connection every time. So dual thumb stud knife running on bearings and with the really nicely done button lock action right there. So we can see there are full steel liners inside the handles and they have a gray coating on them. Inside the liners, you will see that they did some weight reduction. So they milled out some of the interior of the scales to help make the knife a little bit more lightweight. And so we'll check out the weight in just a minute. But this satin blade right here, again, this is going to be a 14C 28N blade steel, which is great for everyday carry. It has pretty good corrosion resistance. It's easy to sharpen. And, for any regular knife use, I think it's more than adequate. So I think it's a really good steel to choose, especially in a knife that's going to cost you around the $40 price point. So I think that's a good thing. So again, action is very nice. Let's go ahead and check out the specs of this particular knife. So let me pull out the ruler here, and they do advertise it as a 3-inch blade, and that is very accurate. So we can see right here, the cutting edge of this blade is right on the money at 3 inches in length, and the overall length of the knife is coming in at 7.5 inches long. 7.5 inches long. The weight, let's check that out. It's not a super lightweight knife because, again, we have steel liners, we have aluminum scales. I'm betting the G10 version might shave a few ounces off of this weight, but let's go ahead and check it out. So yeah, we're coming in at 3.9 ounces, almost 4 ounces. So it doesn't really feel heavy in hand or anything, but I think overall it does feel very solid. So I don't think the weight would be a downside really for anyone. But I do like how Fintiso does their aluminum colors. This one's a simple gray, so not much to it. But I do have one of their earlier models. This one's the Odyssey right here. And I loved how they did like a gray bluish color. So you can kind of see the slight difference in tone there. And their aluminum knives, they look really good. All the work that went into them, I think is very well done. They feel great. And again, the color is just spot on. So they look very attractive in hand. The centering on this one, check that out. Looking good. And for a knife that runs on bearings, I think that's pretty much to be expected. Some kind of interesting things about this you might not have noticed yet is you don't see any screws or any hardware here on the scales that hold the knife together. So you'll notice that there are some standoffs in the back right here, but those screws are going to be hidden underneath this aluminum scale right here. So you don't see as much exposed hardware, which again kind of gives the knife more of a streamlined look, which is kind of nice. Like this side right here, you see nothing but the pocket clip, which is really cool. So it's nice just to have a nice clean design. We just have the pivot screw right there on that side. And of course, you'll notice the pocket clip. This is a nice, deep carry option. And so it's a pretty rigid steel clip, has some strength to it, which is nice because with this very smooth aluminum surface, it does go in and out of pocket, really smoothly. So there's no issues with getting this in or out of your pants. And of course, you'll notice as well, there is a reversible position for this pocket clip. So you can be, left or right hand carry. Either way, you're going to do fine. And they included extra hardware. So we do have the 2 extra screws already right here in the body. And so that's pretty cool. Going the extra mile in the future, maybe they could put a filler tab in there. That would be super awesome to get one of those installed. Again, it would keep the clean look of the handle intact. So I think that would be something to improve on, but really nothing wrong with what we have here. And of course, taking a look at the spine of the knife right here, it's entirely smooth along the spine of the blade. So kind of smoothed out edges, so the edges aren't super sharp or anything. No jimping on the blade. So very much a gentleman's carry knife, in my opinion. And of course, the blade did come out of the package very sharp. I do have some receipt paper right here. So again, receipt paper sometimes can be a little tricky to cut through smoothly. So that the fact that it's doing it without much issue, great edge out of the box, which of course is in these days and age, a knife better have a really good edge as soon as you open it, because you want it to be able to go to work. So that's always a good thing as well. So the Fintiso box. Now they're really doing well on their packaging, and they include a lot of great stuff. So we do have the zippered pouch that the knife comes in. We do have the cloth, which of course every knife company has to include a little cleaning cloth, right? So that's cool. So we have the cloth right there, a couple of stickers. And what I'm always impressed with is getting extra hardware. So you can see some extra screws right there. And so those use T6 bits for these pocket clip screws, and the pivot uses a T8. So you can easily disassemble this knife if you so needed to. I haven't done that yet because, again, straight out of the box, these are first impressions. Just haven't really had a need. I did check. The pivot was not Loctited in, so you can tighten it or loosen it to get the action exactly how you want. So you can just find that right balance of, tightness versus how nice the action is. And so if you want it a little bit tighter, you can certainly snug the pivot down without too much hassle. So that's always a nice thing. But again, beautiful lines on this knife. And when the blade is closed, it's almost completely enclosed in the handle. So it looks pretty good. So again, I knew this would be a knife I would like, but the action speaks for itself and the price speaks for itself as well. So Fintiso, their knives tend to range from like the $30 to $40 price point, which I think is more than acceptable for the quality that they're delivering here. So let's do some quick size comparisons, things you maybe heard of, maybe not. So let's put the Parrot down and we'll check out a Civivi Elementum. So this Elementum right here is the standard liner lock variant. Unfortunately, I don't have a button lock to compare with you, but you can see the size comparison. It's a little bit longer than an Elementum. And we also are going to have, let's see what else we have on the table, kind of a different ballpark here, but this is the ProTech Malibu, another really well done button lock knife. So putting that next to the Malibu, we can see, again, sizes are very, very comparable. Malibu is going to be a little more lightweight overall due to lack of steel liners in there, but in overall dimensions, very, very similar. Another couple of competitive options. Now we have a Spyderco Para 3. This is the lightweight variant with the plastic scales, but in terms of size, it's again right in that same ballpark. So I have a lot of random knives just on the table right here. So that's why we're seeing some very interesting options to check out, such as the Benchmade Bug Out. So let's go ahead and put the Bug Out right next to it right there. And again, it's right in line, overall size, overall length with the Benchmade Bug Out. But I'm looking forward to what this brand continues to offer in the future. I think they might send me some more stuff as well. I mean, assuming they like these videos, we'll see. I don't know. But if you have any comments about this knife, I mean, it looks really nice. And I think it's really well executed. So drop any comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the brand and about this particular model, the Parrot. So hopefully y'all have a nice day out there, and I will see you later.